Good evening and welcome again to Barbers Arms, guys. It's been a busy week again in the industry, and this is our episode 26. Thanks to the 4.2 million that's viewed us so far. Coming up on tonight's show, you got me and Gaz on our weekly news desk, and then at 8:15, we've got the boss man from Ruffians, Andrew Cannon's going to be joining us in the arms. We've got Gaz's cocktail, which is a big secret tonight. He's not even told the production team. That's coming around about 8:50. And then straight after Gaz's cocktail, we've got our local hero, which is Ross Jones from Jones, the Barbers in Cardiff. So, first of all, let's please welcome my co-host, Mr. Gary Mitchen.
Thank you very much, sir. How are you? You looking well? As he necks his last drink. How are you, buddy?
I'm very well, Gaz. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. We had a busy week. I know we talked about it last week, but we've all our apprentices sat their final exam on Wednesday. So sitting guilds were in to adjudicate and judge our apprentices. So hopefully they smash that. We find out in the next 20 days. So all those apprentices out there that are taking the final exam, big up to you. I hope you do well. I think they smashed it. You just never know, though, do you? We expect not just a pass. We expect a distinction, but no pressure on the guys. Fantastic week, but it's pressure on us as well. You know, you've got to just moved into a new academy, so that was another thing as well. So, but yeah, what's your week been like?
It's been a funny week. I think there's been a bit of an unrest everywhere. I think the announcements that came up in Scotland, I think they had a breath of relief when the barbers and hairdressers weren't closed. But there's lots of restrictions up there again that's come in. I think there's a bit of nerves around further lockdowns. I think it's just normal life now, isn't it, that we're all going to have to get used to. Don't get too down about it, guys. We've got to keep battling through it, keep doing the right thing, and keep wearing your PPE, keep protecting yourselves at all times. As I keep being told in the gym, protect this end at all times. And I think we've got to do the same in the industry. You know, we've got to keep doing that. And, I thought last week's show were great. It was great to get Bill on. I'm sure Bill enjoyed it as well. We had lots of nice comments about him being on last week. So it was great to get Bill on and listen to his views. And it'd be nice to get him back. I think, I'd like to get Bill on a couple of times a month or once a month to find out what's happening in that government. He seems to have his finger on the pulse, doesn't he? Sat at home in his retirement place, being able to do that. So it was really nice last week. I had a bit of a rough head last Saturday morning. I don't know about you.
Wow. I mean, you have your bacon and eggs, get up, go boxing, do a little bit. Saturdays are still my main day. I will admit, though, Saturdays have turned into the new Tuesday. It's just weird how things have gone. I don't know how, all you barbers out there, if you're the same, but I need Saturdays back. It's just a little bit weird, really. As you said, great show. Really enjoyed it. I've known Bill a long time, not as long as you, and he hasn't got, he hasn't got as many secrets on me as you, but worked with him at Javier and on the Barber Council and Hair Council. Lovely fella, great knowledge of the industry. So yeah, it's good. Great show coming up. We've got Ruffians, which are a premier brand, so that's really good. So we're looking forward to it, to the show.
Yeah,
if
I've been wanting to
does realise.
I think Gary's got a few technical issues tonight. I think we're waiting for you guys to change onto either from the 4G onto your Wi-Fi. But coming up, we've got Andrew from Ruffians. I've been waiting to interview Andrew for ages. Done a bit of work with him in London. We've used the Ruffian brand a few times to do some product launches, and it's always been a fantastic evening there. They've got a great philosophy. And I can't wait to get Andrew on tonight to speak to him about the secrets about Ruffians, their philosophies, their ideas, their motivational techniques. Some of the stuff, Andrew's not a barber, so it's from anybody who's listening to this tonight, but also next week as well. If you're tuned in, it's a great insight to the business side of barbering, the philosophy that they have. at Ruffian. So I'm really looking forward to tonight. Looking forward to your cocktail as well, Gaz.
Yeah, we got a great cocktail tonight, and it's called the Wild Ruffian tonight. So it's a bit of a homage to our guest. So really looking forward to the guest. I met him a couple of times. I know you know him really well. So yeah, the Wild Ruffian is going to be our cocktail tonight.
Did you get the nice wake up kind of startlation tonight off our producer Trevor in Australia? It's is it the clock saving, the hour saving time? So he's on early. I'm thinking he's kind of fresh tonight. He's definitely up really nice and bright and early in Australia. It's probably 2 a.m. in the morning. And then when I got that, I just got out of the shower and I see a message coming up saying, we're live in 9 minutes. And I'm thinking, it's 7:15. We've got an hour before we get on. I'm like, live in what in 9 minutes? And then he went, oh no, I could have done an extra hour in bed. So Trevor, keep the coffee pouring, mate. You'll be kicking yourself for that hour that you've missed. Or your wife will be kicking you for making a noise getting up an hour earlier than what you should have done.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is with that, I'm traveling on my way home from work when that happened. So you were at home. I don't know what you were doing, but your iPad ended up wet. But whatever you were doing, I'm guessing you're either in the bath or in the shower or in the hot tub. I'm not quite sure which one. But I'm in the car, so the thing is with me, I missed that. So I knew what time it was because I left work. I'm on my way home. So that wouldn't have had the same effect on me as it would on you because you were lollicking with a glass of red somewhere, I'm sure.
No, I purposely saved myself with this diet I'm on. I've not only, I've probably only one night this week where I've had a beer. So tonight and last week, I think that's what did me when Bill were on. I not had a drink all week. So no, I didn't have a drink till we've just gone on the production side of it then. But what are you drinking tonight anyway? What's on the order to start with? Well, I'm drinking some nice red wine, got a nice Merlot with a Desperado chaser. That's what I'm drinking tonight. So hopefully Andrew will be very pleased that he's on very early at 8:15. It's 9:15 to make sure his interview goes nice and smoothly. Gary looks like one of those waxworks from Tussauds, doesn't he? He's got that kind of waxwork look to him that's in there. So look, I'm on my own here at the minute till we get these technical issues joined out. Guys, I just wanted to talk to you all about, and I know I can't bounce this off Gary, so I'm going to talk out and probably answer my own questions here as well, is that, you know, I think this week, good luck to everybody up in Scotland. I know it's going to be, you know, a little bit different, but you've done it before. We've all done it before. And all I've kept thinking this week is, and I've stopped watching news. I don't know about you guys, but somebody said to me with tonight's news and stuff like that. And I've just thought to myself, whatever's fetched in front of us now, we as Great Britain and the Europe and everywhere, whatever's been put in front of us, most people have abided by the rules. And all we need is really good leadership and really good guidance. And wherever that is, whatever's coming on, we're all used to it now. It's not something that we're different. We're probably going to do it better than what we did it before. And so I think that's just the main thing for us all to just keep focused that don't anybody get. I've had a few people, I'm not going to mention names, who phoned me and spoke to me and said it's getting me down a little bit this now. And I keep saying, how do you think I feel? I've not travelled all year. I've done a couple of trips early doors, January. And it is a worrying times, but we've got to keep moving forward and just keep it positive. Guys, that's better. We've got no
I don't know what's going on, mate. See, nothing's changed from every weekend, week out, whatever we do. I haven't changed anything, and my system just seems to be just going nuts this last week. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry, viewers, and to you, sir, but hopefully that'll be a little bit better. I'm getting a little. Yeah, it looks good now from production side of things. So I'm getting the message. It's a lot better. So hopefully we're through the word. I think the Zoom needs some moonshine, to be honest. I need to just tip some down the old connection somewhere. Talking of moonshine, have we got any left? Have you got any that end of the in Nottingham or not?
I'm not in Nottingham at the minute, but I'm not taking moonshine tonight. I'm for a purpose that I kind of think that it really messed about with me last Saturday. It kind of kicked in some kind of weird hangover that hit me about 11:30, and I got my mum coming over for dinner, and we did dinner and stuff, and I had a beer about 12 o'clock just to make me feel a bit better, and it didn't, and I just put it down to the moonshine. Nothing to do with the Desperados I'd had or anything else that I'd had of the tequila, but the moonshine did. So I thought tonight if you want a normal evening with me and you want me to be corpus mentis by about 9 o'clock, I'll just stick to the red vino and the Desperados tonight, if that's okay. And I might have a little shot of tequila, depends on how Andrew's drinking. Normally with Andrew, I bet he's drinking his own beers.
Why? Is he a bit of a brewer?
Well, Ruffians have their own, they have their own beers. I love going in there because if I'm in Covent Garden or Shoreditch, I'll go in and see the boys, and I'll go in there, and I love sitting in the armchairs there. They've got a really nice reception area. And within a couple of minutes, it'll be either Rich or Carl or Tommy will come over and say, "Do you want a beer, Si?" And I'm like, "Oh, go on, man, I'll have a beer with you." And I end up getting to no more appointments and spending the full afternoon in Ruffians, drinking 3 or 4 of their beers, and it's fantastic. Really good. I've got a story to tell Andrew about one of the last visits I had there.
They are beautiful salons as well, and it's going to be a great story this as well because from a business point of view, I don't want to give too much away, but when we're talking about Ruffians as well, with Andrew, he isn't actually a barber, is he? Which is which is good, and we're going to get the whole story from there. But just going back to the moonshine. You nearly finished the show last week. It wasn't your usual flair. You didn't finish it with your usual flair, should I say? But it was good because it's about time you were the same as me. Sometimes.
Listen,
I'm always the drunken one.
I hit the bus at some point. I think just as Bill was finishing off before we went to the local heroes. I think when you were doing your cocktail, I normally have my toilet break at that point, and I came back and I'm like, I'm going to struggle for these next 10, 15 minutes. It's like if we were out tonight together, I'd be saying to you, I've done after this one, can't drink anymore and I can't speak, but it's no good.
Do you know what though? As you've got older, do you know what I've noticed? You are very good at saying no. You will actually say, "No, I've had enough now. I'm going to bed." Whereas I still haven't learned how to say that. I still can't say no. If somebody puts a drink in front of me, I have to drink it. But you can actually walk away from the bar now, which fair play to you. That's a great quality to have now. I think that's fantastic. But I have got to get rid of this moonshine as quick as possible because it's so. I spoke to Jackie and I thought I hurt her feelings earlier on in the week because she said, "Was the moonshine really that bad?" And I'm sorry to say, Jackie, it's...
Well then, we'll put a little challenge out there then. What's your favourite charity, Gaz? Whoa, stop, Gaz. Stop, Gary. Gary, don't drink it. What's your favourite charity?
We've got a local charity, which is we've got Donna Louise and Macmillan, so it's a toss-up between the two, our local charities. So
I'd like to raise some money for your local charity tonight, guys. So, guys, don't forget as well, just before we go on to Gaz's local charity, we're going to get Gaz to do something for his charity with that moonshine in a short while. But I'd like everybody to pledge a $5 to Gaz's favourite charities tonight if he does that moonshine in one before we get Andrew on tonight's show.
No.
Well, what's wrong with you? Week one, you were doing all in one.
No way.
Just before Andrew...
By the end of the show, not by the time Andrew comes on.
Just before Andrew comes on, guys, if you want to have a look on our Instagrams or follow us on Instagrams, my Instagram's Simon Shaw Wahl. We've got Gaz at the British Barber, and we've got the Barbers Arms, it's Barbers_Arms, which you can follow us on Insta, on our website as well, which is thebarbersarms.co.uk. Guys, on that as well, don't forget to register. You can start having a look now at our trade show, which is on there for the end of November. We're getting some fantastic inquiries about this now. We've said we're going to make it really different and really cool. So everybody who's going to be coming on is going to be doing some form of education. We've got some top brands that's going to be associated. I'm proud to say, obviously, Wahl are in there. So Wahl are going to be at the virtual trade show doing some, not only selling some products, but also as well doing some fantastic education. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but that's coming up on the 29th and the 30th of November here on Barbers Arms. And also as well, don't forget, if you want to email us at barbersarms@britishbarbers.com, you can do so as well. Looking forward to Andrew winning.
Yeah, I think Andrew's just about parking his car. Just quickly, for all our viewers out there, Mark Walters, all the guys, Nikos, David Gray, Mary, all our usual viewers, thank you so much. You make the show, you make what we do worthwhile. Thank you very much for watching. Jackie and Ross, of course, our main and #1 fans, and our colleagues as well. So thank you all for watching, and of course all our international fans that actually viewers that actually watch us week to week as well. I'd just like to say as well, anybody who wants to get involved, please remember, make yourself a member. If you go to britishbarbers.com, it'll come up all the news and the Reader's Digest that you can actually access there. So please get on there.
And just before we go to Andrew as well, just like to say, I to a barber who used to cut my hair when I was a kid. I had lots of hair. That's Bull Ainley. Bull, your breakfast looked fantastic this morning, pal. I watched it on Facebook and it looked fantastic. So fair play to you, old Golden Scissors. He's still got a barbershop in Barnsley. He's gone into building to it, but great character, great guy, and I had some real fond memories. We might get born at some point to have a chat. Welcome to the Barbers Arms, the one and only, the owner of Ruffians, the boss man himself, Mr. Andrew Cannon.
Thanks for having me. What a big meal. Thank you very much. Good Friday night.
How are you? Well?
Yeah, very well. Fit and healthy. Everyone's all good as things can be, you know. So yeah, getting a bit chillier. So we've got the fire roaring in our Covent Garden shop, you know. So you know, there's some good things out there.
I was just going to say I recognise that street there in Covent Garden. So Andrew, I think we've met before. Can you remember doing an event where we were at the Barber Surgeons Hall? Can you remember doing that?
I do remember doing that. God, that's a while ago now, isn't it? So that must be.
It is. I said to the production team, I said, I haven't seen Andrew lately, but we did an event at the Barber Surgeons Hall in Monksfield, and that's a few years ago. It must be 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
5 years ago, yeah. I think we only had in London Covent Garden at the time, and we were sort of looking for other sites and stuff like that. It's a great place to go, great venue. It's quite humbling, you know, when you're sitting in there, and you. I'm obviously at the beginning of my barbering journey as well, so I was like, oh, this is exciting to be around all you lot. But then also you got all those massive pictures on the wall, and these not pictures, like actual paintings of all these old boys. It's quite impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, I know it was knocked down and it was rebuilt from the war years, but it's got the old London Wall, City Wall there as part of the building, and but it was a really great event, and I'm proud to say I spoke there, and that's the first time I met you. So you've come a long way since then, I hear. So how many? Just in 2 minutes, 2-minute bio. Just give us who you are, what you are, and what the company stands for.
Sure. So I'm Andrew, the co-founder of Ruffians and the chief ruffian. You know, we set up Ruffians 8.5 years ago up in Edinburgh, and I'm actually not a barber by trade, so I'm a fraudster in that respect. Having said that, I did go on a 1 week long men's cutting course. My God, I was bad, really bad. I think I've got freakish fingers where I've just got huge gaps. I couldn't hold a section. It was very floppy and embarrassing. But anyhow, and then so set up Ruffians up in Edinburgh purely out of, you know, barbering was, you guys know, you don't need me to tell you, but it was a bit different like 8 or 9 years ago. It wasn't, you know, the levels just risen and risen and risen and risen and risen. And, you know, for me, it was all about, I really wanted to enjoy having my hair cut and that experience of it, and not just get a great result, but like this, like going to the pub. I enjoy going to the pub. I enjoy seeing my friends. I enjoy socializing, and it didn't happen as much in the industry. So I was like, right, let's create this then. So we created this environment, and it worked out really well in Edinburgh, and we, had some success there, and then moved into central London, which isn't the best idea right now. I don't think everyone wants too many barbershops in central London, but we've had, Covent Garden, Soho, Marylebone and Shoreditch where our shops are. And like this picture behind me here, that was an event we had at the Shoreditch shop. I'm not sure if you were at that one actually, Simon. Was that the one? That might have been one of the ones we sort of did for the Aquablade or something. With It's just, you're stuck between two fantastic pubs, the Barley Mow and the Bricklayers there. So it's normally like that, heaving with people and just a great place to be. But right now London's a bit quieter, but still lots of hair to be cut. So that's all good.
I don't know if you were watching just before, Andrew. I was just saying, I'm really looking forward to interviewing you. I met you loads of times, and we at Wahl have been doing some stuff with you over the last 5 or 6 years, and we're going to continue to grow that relationship as well, because it's a fantastic brand. I want all our viewers who's watching tonight, and also who's going to watch in the next week or so, to learn a little bit more about the mindset behind Ruffians, and we'll get into a little bit more about, because I know that this is not just about barber and barbershop. It's more of the ultimate experience of going into a barbershop. It's the time that you're in there. And we've spoke, you gave me a contact last week, the guy, Nick. Wow. I'm blown away. There's loads of, we'll talk about that at another time, but that's just how, I love connecting with you guys, because you've got a great mind. People who's joining us, Tony Hewitt, General Manager of Wahl. Thanks, Tony, for joining in tonight. It's nice to have, I'm missing all my colleagues down at Wahl. I'm sure they're joining in to watch you, Andrew, as well, to watch what's happening. Just behind you, where he is, Gary, I've got to say, I was just saying, Andrew, before you came on, I love coming in sometimes to come into the reception, and I'll just go in, Gaz, and either Carl or Rich or Tommy will come over and say, do you want a beer? And I'll sit there with the Ruffians beer. You sit in the beautiful reception area, and basically I just waste time. I told you, he's got his Ruffian beers there. And I just waste time with these guys. I just like to think, right, I'm not going to any more appointments now. I'm going to spend time with Ruffians. But I think what we wanted to do tonight, Andrew, is give the viewer that watches into Barbers Arms, not just here in the UK, but globally, a little insight to how you've adapted the real business mentality to barbershops, not just about cutting hair.
Yeah, it's the culture, I think, is what it starts with. We joke about, you got to lead by example and stuff. And so I might be the chief ruffian, but I'm also the chief toilet cleaner. The guy that comes in and cleans all the when you're there, you're mucking in, you're all together. And that really is it. It's the spirit. And we've always said there's no egos in Ruffians. Like, there's just nice people and individuals and characters who just want to be there and enjoy it. And that's enjoying every day and every moment with their mates who are cutting hair with them, but also the customers. Like, we don't call them customers and clients. They become friends. I mean, they walk in as a customer, they walk in as an unknown, and you've got to build relationships. But you guys will know this. I mean, it's very, Ruffians, we charge almost £60 for a haircut. So it's got to be very good, and it's got to be worth it. And I think if you're doing that, you need to really connect with them. And so we do a lot of training on that side of it as well. So it's not just about how good your scissors are, but if someone's coming in, they want to feel good about themselves. But we don't say, oh, good morning, sir, good afternoon, sir. It's not all your airs and graces. It's like, you walk in, it's like, oh, hi, Simon, or, hi, Gary. It's not, you get a first name basis. It's not, some of these sort of posh barbers and, like Mayfair or wherever, you're like a servant to the customer. And I think that's really weird. Like, that's not what it should be. You guys, we're the bosses, right? We know what we're doing. Like, you get a CEO of a, really, earning, £200,000 a year, come and sit in your seat. They're like small children, like choir boys. They don't know how to describe their haircut. They're nervous and on edge. And you just sit them down and be like, let's not talk about your hair yet. How's your day going? Or like your suit, or like your shirt. And then they relax. And then they have a sip of their drink, and then you just start talking naturally. And then before you know it, their shoulders go down, and they're just like, oh, that was great. 45 minutes flew by. And sometimes we struggle to get them out. They'll be like, can I just sit and relax for a bit? And we're like, back in the day before COVID, you'd do that. You'd say, hey, come and sit down and then your receptionist or the front of house guys that come and chat to them and say hello, and like, you know, it's just, you've got to want to be there, right? You know, and that's the great thing about this industry. Like, there are some people here who just love it, and we enjoy it. So, you know, that joy just filters its way down, and then people come back, because there's only a certain number of people who want to pay 60 quid for a haircut. So if they're coming through the door, you know, I always tell the guys, it's my job to get them to come in the door the first time, and it's your job to make sure they come back afterwards, because they've had such a good time. It doesn't always work out, but, you know, most of the time you build these relationships, and, you know, the team will look at their column in the morning and be like, oh, this is going to be a great day. I've got so-and-so and so-and-so. I wonder if he's broken up with her. Yeah. I wonder how the holiday was. Like, they want to know all the fun conversations, you know, because it's like being with their mates. That's the environment. I
think, go on, Gaz.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, that is the barbershop mentality anyway. I think that's, you know, from a £60 haircut to a £15 haircut, or, you know, and everything in between, really. We are that type. We are, in a way, with somebody who they can offload on, or they can actually talk about without being judged. It's, you know, half an hour, 45-minute service, and they see you once a month or 6 weeks, and it's a great relationship. My dad, you know, I came into the business because of my father. He's 75 on Monday, still won't finish work because he actually loves his job so much, but it's not leaving a job. It's leaving a lifetime's worth of friends, isn't it? You know, so, and it's, I think when you build up a rapport with your clients like that to the point, it's fantastic. It's not just a business, it's a relationship that you're building up as well. Just quickly, while we go on to that, and the secret of your success, obviously you offer a great service, great surroundings, you know, your resources that you've got are fantastic, but what actually made you get into barbering in the first place? Being not a barber, and I guess you were an investor, or you were looking for something to, you know, build, or what actually got you into the business in the first place?
Good question. I mean, frustration more than anything, like myself. So, I mean, I had my hair cut, you know, when I was at uni and stuff like that. I went to university and just didn't really care what my hair looked like, to be honest. I wasn't particularly vain or anything, but had some horrific haircuts. And so then, you know, then I came and started working in marketing and advertising in London, and life became a bit more competitive. You sort of, you know, you want to look good among your colleagues, and you want to look, you know, you're dating and stuff like that. So you want to look good. And I would start paying more money for it, and, you know, going to places, but generally I went to salons then, because I thought I'll get a better haircut in a salon. And lo and behold, like, and I get it now, like, you don't get a better haircut in a salon because they don't really know how to cut men's hair. And you get a bit of a shitty sort of environment where you've had to, like, listen to Beyonce for half an hour. And you come out smelling of apricots, and you're just like, oof, that wasn't really for me. That's not the environment I want. And so that's why I was like, oh, I can do this. So then I started going to some really cool places, and I'm also not particularly cool. So I went in there, and there's, you know, when you walk in and you sit down and everyone's got that haircut already, and you're like, oh, bugger, that's what I'm going to walk out with, and my mates are going to slate me when I get home tonight. And you get home and you go and play your five-a-side football or whatever, and they're like, oof, look at you. You think you look pretty edgy, don't you? And I'm, you know, that I couldn't find that balance. So I just, you know, and as you said, like, so I was just in my late 20s, and I just thought, you know, I can maybe do this. Like, you know, I was at this crossroads in my life. I just got married, and I'd taken an extended honeymoon with my wife, and so I'd quit my job. So we both got back to the UK, having traveled South America for 6 months, and we were just like, shall we take a punt on something? And, you know, I was like, I'd really quite like to try doing this barbershop thing. And Kate, you know, bless her, had said, yeah, go for it, you know. And so she earned the salary, and, you know, I was, you know, earning nothing, trying to pull some money together to sort of set Ruffians up. So, and that's how it sort of came about. But I honestly, the funniest thing, I mean, I've made so many mistakes, like a horrific number of mistakes, and I always tell that to the team. I'm very honest. I'm like, no one has made more mistakes in Ruffians than me. And my biggest mistake was like, how hard can it be to, like, recruit good team and stuff like that? So I thought it was all, because I've done marketing and advertising, I thought, well, it's all about that. If I get people through the door, That's the real hard challenge, isn't it? Get them in. Oh my God, how wrong was I? It's all about the people who are in your team. That is the big thing. And so we went up in Edinburgh. I basically fluffed it, and with 2 weeks to go, I did not have a single employee, anyone who could cut hair, and I was getting a bit panicked. And my hair was getting shorter and shorter as I kept going into barbershops and salons, trying to interview people, like sort of. I know it's not very, acceptable, but sort of poaching. I was like, I just need anyone to cut some decent hair. And luckily, this brilliant guy called Ian Fallon, who's still with me, he took a punt. I had to get him a few bottles of wine later, eventually managed to convince him to come and join me on this adventure. And he's still with me today. And, now I'm like, the first thing you prioritize is like who's on the team and making sure everyone's happy and, content and enjoying themselves. But I mean, I didn't expect it to be as much fun as it was, as this, and just because it boils down to the people. Like, I mean, I've worked in other industries, and there's some sort of creative spark that hairdressers have, and yeah, they might piss you off a lot, in the meantime as well, because there's a flamboyance creativity, but you wouldn't replace it because it is irreplaceable. It's like this continued spirit of enjoyment and excitement. And, when you walk in there and you're feeling a bit down, a bit like what Simon said, I get it. I'll walk into the store and I'm not allowed to be down, am I? Because I'm the boss. And I'll walk in, I'll feel a bit down. And within 30 seconds, I'm buzzing again, because there's this energy that is unique to a barbershop, in my opinion. So, you don't get it in many places, and it's really special.
Well, I think Gary, I'll have to vouch for him as well, because I've been in the shops quite a long time. And, I was speaking to Nick last week,
yeah.
And we were talking about the experience sometimes when you walk into a Ruffian store. And the one thing is, and you just said it there, I mean, what you've just said about you finding and wanting to do that business was, you can be a little bit put off by walking into that cool street there behind you in Shoreditch. You're going into there, you've got Tommy with long hair, you've got Rich, you've got Carl, it looks quite hip, and you think, am I not cool enough to be in here? But as soon as you walk into Ruffians, no matter whether you're Adonis, you've got long hair, short hair, no hair, just a beard, you go in and you think, this is the place, I'm all right here. I'm safe here.
Yeah.
I feel good.
And
that's
unique. And some of that's the training as well, because, we want everyone to come in, because it can be intimidating. And like in Edinburgh, it was quite funny. The first month we were open, we had more people come in the door thinking that we were a kitchen sales company than a barbershop, because they were like, oh, I like this layout that you've sort of created with all these sinks around these nice oak tables, which was what we, put together ourselves, thinking this would look cool. And they're like, oh, you're not a kitchen cabinet company? And we're like, no, we're a barbershop. Like, come and get a haircut. And they're like, no, we're okay, thanks. Which was a bit demoralizing to start with. But then when they come in, we always just say, like, hi, how are you? Like, how can I help? It's not like, do you have an appointment? It's not an accusational question. It's just like, how can I help? Like, come on in. Like, it's a very, and because then hopefully then they're just, they relax.
But you've got what 90% of businesses, barbers, I don't think, or hairdressers get, which is your job is to get people through the door.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, the backroom team, the training and everything, but a lot of businesses, guys, don't have that. It's the kind of like they miss the marketing side out. If they've got 50 grand to open a shop up, they'll spend 52 grand buying chairs, furniture, waterfalls, neon signs, and then they've got no money to market it with. And I know it's changed a little bit with social media and stuff, but marketing for me is I think it's been one of the biggest things. I've got some questions to ask you, Andrew, as well, which are just a little bit more on just so. Looking at what would you class is the difference between Ruffians and other barbershops? What is your standout difference?
Good question. I mean, personality, I think, is what it boils down to. And I mean that in, Ruffians has its own personality. So when someone comes in the door, there's a look and a feel that's the same. So that Shoreditch shop compared to Covent Garden, they're sort of 60% the same, and they're 40% different for where their location is. So there's that familiarity of the Ruffians personality. And then we let the barbers have their own, once you're chatting to that person, we let them do their thing, but you'll follow the steps of service. So without the customer even knowing, they're being taken on this journey that we've all put together. And it's not me saying this is how I want it to be done. It's all of us as a collective, as a team, and it changes. Every quarter we'll sit down with the managers and be like, how's it going? Like, how's the flow? Just so that the customers, they get that level of consistency. So all the guys that, you know, were at university up in Edinburgh and have moved down to work in London, they've been really, they're amazing. Like, they've decided, I want to go from that Ruffians shop in Edinburgh and I want to come into one of the London ones. And they've sort of followed us around, and there's a badge of honor to like get your haircut and all 5 of them and stuff like that. And it's just, there's that familiarity, like, but it's not like, it's not regimented. It's not like you have to do this. Like, it's not, we're not telling each of our team, you know, follow the script, and they're not robots reading it. They're just making their own personality around it. And I think that's kind of what it is. So they know where the boundaries are, but they're allowed to push them, rather than someone coming in. And, you know, we employ all our staff. We don't, there's no one who's rents any chairs or anything. So everyone's in it together. There's just this cohesive unit, and they're just a team. And I think, you know, some of the other barbershops I've been to where there's, you know, there's someone who's like the key person. And I think because I can't cut hair as well, there isn't that. Everyone knows that they're better than me. Every one of our members of staff knows I can cut hair better than Andrew. So I'm going to make sure that, you know, I've got my own personal, they've got their own, you know, autonomy. And I think that's really important. And I don't know where that makes us, you know, we don't really look at what anyone else is doing. So I don't really know. I mean, no one's doing anything badly or anything, I suppose. So it's just, we're just quite, you know, this is how we do it. And often if I'm looking to try and get better, I'll look at other industries like coffee shops that I really like, or even like when I'm sort of going up and down between Edinburgh, I'll go to Terminal 5 and I'll go there 2 hours early, and I'll walk around the shops to get inspiration from, you know, fashion brands and stuff like that, so that you're not doing what the conventional hairdressers or the barbers are doing. You're sort of just thinking, you know, what's in everyone else's lives that I can sort of use. So I guess that's kind of our difference. We're just trying to do our own thing. We call it the Ruffians way, and they all mock me for it, but that's what I call it anyhow.
I think, Gaz, as well, I'm very similar. Bad service drives me fucking nuts. I cannot tolerate it, can't cope it, and at this time in my life, I actually stop. I'll do it very politely, but I'll pull people to one side and say, excuse me, can I have a word? I'm not going to raise my voice in front of people that's behind me, but the service I'm receiving is absolutely diabolical. Do you want to go somewhere where we can discuss it? Because I can't tolerate it anymore.
What?
Oh, Gaz, you're muted. Gary, you're muted.
I think, Simon, it's just my iPad. It just has a mind of its own. I just think as well, Simon, that comes with also confidence, age, and just knowing what you want. When you get to a certain age, you know what you expect and what you want as well. I think there's a lot of young, confident guys out there, professionals out there, but I think that comes with confidence of being able to say that as well. Just before we carry on, Andrew.
Yep.
Those 5 years ago, or 5 or 6 years ago, when we met at the Barber Surgeons Hall, I asked you about training, and we were talking about state registration, you know, licensing, how you train your staff, you know, what's the policy, and you were very adamant that you didn't want to, as you just said, you didn't want any standardization, you didn't want any particular training regime within Ruffians. Has that changed now or not?
Well, training is always like something that can always get better. Like we don't, again, it boils down a bit to me because I can't help anyone train or get better, you know, in terms of the physical bit. So we do a lot of internal stuff. It's not particularly like, here's your training formula. Like we're pretty big on inductions. So when someone joins the company and becomes a barber or a front of house, you know, they get told this is the way we do things. So they get that in their mindset. But in terms of like skills training for like, you know, actually, you know, clippers and scissors and comb work, you know, I'd have to trust that to each of the store managers. So each store manager knows what his team, and when I try and interfere with that, to be honest, it doesn't work very well. People are like, can you just back off, to be honest, because you're making a bit of a mess of this. And I know what this guy needs, and I'll help him to get there. One thing I'm really passionate about is pushing people in the direction that they want to go. So I made a few mistakes at the beginning, where I was like, look, we're a barbershop. I want to be the best barbershop ever. And I had these great ideas that, you know, the best barbers, you know, and you'll all laugh at me and think I'm a moron, but like, they don't need to use clippers. You know, there you go. Well, this is when I wrote the bloody business plan, and it said this. And I was like, I'm going to make everyone's just going to cut with scissors, because if you cut with scissors, you're a better hairdresser. I mean, and I was just like, and now I'm just like, what an idiot, like what an absolute moron. And so I was like, this will set us apart from everyone else. And then there were, I mean, obviously I know that's nonsense now, but then you also cutthroat shaves. I was like, everyone needs to be able to shave. Like, if you want to be a proper barber, you have to shave. But there are some people that just really don't feel comfortable and do not enjoy it. And I made them train and I made them do it. And you could tell how uncomfortable the whole process was for them. And we used to be in Ruffians, up until about a couple of years ago, your final thing you had to do before you could be signed off to be a shaver on customers was to shave me. So they'd be totally nervous, probably the worst shave they do in their life, but it was like, you get through that. And some of the guys would just breeze it because they loved shaving and they love the repetition of it and they love the art of it and the fact that whoever comes in, they know they could do it. And some people just really did not enjoy it. And you could just tell they were nervous the whole way through it. And I just said to myself, why am I forcing them to do something that ultimately the customer's not going to enjoy? Because when you have someone who puts a blade to your face and is nervous, as the customer, you're just like, okay, this is going to be awful. You know, I'm paying a lot of money to have a nervous individual do something. So, you know, and now that's, you know, if someone loves fading, we'll push them that way. Scissor over comb, we'll push them that way. We find out what they want to do and let's make them brilliant at that, rather than be a jack of all trades, because that's not, you know, that's not how people necessarily were meant to be. So
no, I think that's important. And, you know, I think it's good that you've identified that, because some people, it's like in training, like with us, Gaz is like probably the best I've ever seen at shaving. And, you know, forget all your Eastern European and your Kurdish guys, you know, if you're going for a nice service. But from an education point of view, Gary Machin is the way he delivers it. And that's why we have him down to do the training with the Wahl guys, because, you know, I don't make any of them train. And I know how you feel, Andrew, when you said that all your guys can cut hair better than you. I have the same feeling with all my Wahl team. They're all better than me. They just can't present like I can present, unfortunately. There's something that's natural about that. I had trained on it. Andrew, look, we're in this. I think you've hit it more than anybody. Central London's been tough. The outskirt barbers, but speaking to like Joth at Savills, I know we've spoke about this. The city centre salons have struggled, but I think the outskirt barbers and, you know, the smaller town barbers have still the one. You've still got trade, but central London's being really hit bad because not a lot of tourists are about. So I'm not going to ask you. I think it's bollocks a minute to say to anybody, what's your short-term plan? But have you thought about 2021 yet? What's your plans for your growth in terms of when we get rid of this, moving forward?
It's going to be an interesting one. So a lot of people have said to me, you need to like pivot and, you know, get into the residential areas, you know, because central London, like you said, you know, I'm not going to lie, it's dire. Like it's bloody miserable in the middle of London right now. And it's not just the tourists aren't there, it's the office workers aren't there. And, you know, 2 weeks ago, we were really seeing ourselves pick back up because everyone was coming back into the offices 1 or 2 days a week. And that's all you need. Like, so that means that someone gets in, clear their desk, you know, by the end of the day, they're like, okay, I'm going to go out and get my haircut in the evening, or the next day when they're in, they're like, I know I can manage my time and I'll have a haircut at lunchtime. When the government flipped that round and said, you know, actually don't work from your offices at all and stay at home if you can. I mean, that, so we've seen, I think, all central London again, like, and all our mates who are in coffee shops and retailers, restaurants, we're all just like, oh God, like, never mind. Yeah. So, you know, planning for next year, right now is batten down the hatches, you know, and just see where Christmas leads us. You know, I mean, negotiate with our landlords and make sure that, you know, the two big expenses are rent and they are, you know, staff. So we have the furlough scheme, and then we have the new government scheme, which is very helpful to help make sure that the staff, we try and retain all of the barbers. And, you know, but we also want to keep them busy. So the idea is like, let's have them in for 3 days rather than 5 days, because they'll have 3 busy days, because everyone knows 5 scratchy days are boring, you know, and they're not enjoying life as much. So they might as well go off and have a walk in the South Downs or something on a day off and enjoy it and get paid for that instead. next year, products is one thing. So, we want to push our product line more. So the hairstyling products, and we're looking at maybe doing some facial stuff as well, because obviously we can sell that and that can help subsidize what the guys, help the shops. And then when the retail footfall does come back to central London and Edinburgh, we've got these, great sites that can once again take advantage of that tourist trade and sell through there. In terms of launching new shops and stuff like that, we wouldn't, I just don't think it's worth our while going to, we're bang in the middle. So if we're talking about London, in the suburbs of it, there are perfectly great barbers there already. I don't think there's any need for someone like us to come there and try and stamp our authority. I think it would be very expensive for us. And I don't think that, I don't know whether it would work. And I think that our customer base, they want to keep coming into central London. So if we move ourselves elsewhere, I don't think they'd be that happy.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, then, let's lift everybody's spirits here.
Yeah.
No money, no object. Because if me and Gaz, Northerners there, would say, me and Gaz, come on, we're going to open up in Shoreditch or London. Me and Gaz have been on a jolly fucking 3 days a week. We'd be in London. We'd be living it up. We'd be a right threat to ruffians. But let's just say you had no money or no object. Where would you open a shop up? Forget the pandemic at the minute. Where would ruffians, no money, object, just this is it, you've got a pot of money. Where would be the next destination?
It will be in Williamsburg or it would be in Tribeca in New York, 100%. We're like, let's show the rest of the world that British barbering really is the best. Let's get out there and give 2 fingers to that lot. That's what we'd like to do. And then we'll go to San Francisco, and then we'll move on around to Tokyo, and then make our way back across. That's always been my dream in a way, because you want your jolly down to London. I want my jolly over to New York. I want to go and have a bit of fun.
Hey, listen, we're fucking global, not local. And when Andrew says 2 fingers up to Americans, it's peace to our American brothers. We love you all out there, and we'd love to have Ruffians out there in New York. We love being in America. So but I actually, if I'd have been a bet, I know Trevor's just messaged there saying he thought you'd have said New York. Where did you think he'd go, Gaz?
Well, there's nowhere cooler than Tribeca in New York. I've worked there. Nick Aroche is out there, another great northern guy who's made a fantastic business out there. But Tribeca in New York, is that a place you know really well then, Andrew, or not?
We've done a few pop-ups out there. So we've, planted the seed of Ruffians thought out there, and we're trying to work. So we've done in Brooklyn, and then also in Manhattan as well. And we've worked with those with different sort of fashion brands, and we've just got friends and contacts, and it's just a really cool place, and it would be great to be able to do it. Very expensive rent, but
I was just going to say, in Tribeca there, in that actual area, it's so cool. All the loft apartments, the old warehouses.
It's amazing.
It's a beautiful place, and a bit like, reminds me very much of London, where all the dock areas have been reused, and it's been. Would you ever decide to franchise your brand, Andrew, or not?
I think I'm too much of a control freak. I think I'd find it difficult to let the reins go, because and how do you franchise a personality? Like, that's part of the problem, I suppose. Like, for me, I just don't think I'd want to. I think, it means, so much to me and the team. I think to let it run quickly like that with what a franchise model could do, like, I'm not sure you could keep on top of it to make sure that the standards are where they need to be. So I'd rather have fewer, better places than spread ourselves too thinly.
Well, Gaz, you do the same. You won't franchise yours. You and your brothers and your dad, it's a family-run business. When you go into Gaz's shops, everybody's dressed similar. They've got the same styling units. They use the same products. Everybody's registered. They all use the same methods of shaving. Gaz, you can control that if it's in like Leicester and somebody's like, same as.
That's the thing. I work all over the world. I see all the models. I've done a lot in North America. Absolutely love the way people work, but I just couldn't. I'm exactly the same as what you've just said. I just couldn't let go. It's just something. I'd end up running around like a blue horse fly. You know what I mean? It's. I think it's something when you let go, you've got to have very good staff. We've got fantastic managers, fantastic assistant managers, but I think it's one thing to have a fantastic business. To franchise it, it's got to be something really, really special, and you've got to have a really, really, really strong backroom team as well. And I agree, you know, Simon. But Andrew, your salons, you know, barbershops are absolutely beautiful. It's a credit to you, and it's been really interesting talking to you from a fellow professional as well, and business owner. But I'm sure, Simon, it's that time. Are we going to end with our usual questions, sir?
We're getting now week 26, so the last maybe 10 episodes, the guests have already watched the episodes, so they know what questions are coming up now. So they've all got like pre-orchestrated. So like, should I change the questions? I'm like, fuck it, we'll just go down the road. Right, Andrew from Ruffians, the man. Loved listening to your foresight tonight. Loved listening to how you did it, and I think you've just typified it with. I'm not going to mention the name. Maybe at a later date we'll mention the guys that you work with as well. The guys that we spoke to, the Nick guy from his brand. But we're going to be doing some work with him at Wahl, and we're going to be doing some more work with you guys. But the investment that you make behind the scenes, not on barbering or hairdressing or products, just the service levels, shows it's a mass difference between cutting hair and a business. That's all I want to say to people who's going to listen on the podcast or will listen on the views. And at a later date, we'll talk, because Andrew might not want me to share all his secrets.
Too many, yeah. Well, I'm very humbled. Thank you very much, because I mean, it's been a pleasure, like, you know, chatting about it, and you know, obviously you guys, it's the passion. This industry is just passionate, right? And you know, I've got a slightly different mindset, so I come with that sort of, I want everything to be right in the background, and you know, but it's all adding those things together, which makes, you know, Ruffians and other businesses in this, you know, industry fun and special. So.
It is. Right, Andrew.
Part of it. Yeah.
Andrew Cannon, Ruffians.
Just 2 seconds, Simon, before you launch into your final. Can I just say, you know, there's not many people that we meet, especially that not in the trade or, you know, on the shop floor, that get what we do. But Andrew, it's been an absolute pleasure. Fantastic brand. And
thank you.
Your passion is testament to the business anyway. But thank you very much.
100%, mate. That's why we wanted you on the show. Andrew, what's your favourite food?
Oh, it's got to be Scottish smoked trout. I grew up on a fish farm on the west coast of Scotland, despite this horrendously English accent. But so yeah, that's.
They're all the Scottish people now. We've got Colin Walton, we've got Alison Russo, we've got Ross Miller. They're all going, hey, Ray Simmons, hey, hey. What's your favourite drink?
Favourite drink? That's a good question. It's going to be a whiskey sour.
Oh, our last week's guest, whiskey sour, Bill Shaw. Is that what his favourite drink? Where would you be your favourite holiday destination? Where's the place that you'd say, right, if I could be there now, that's the place I want to be?
Oh, I would definitely want to be on a walking safari in southern Zambia. Is that the poshest answer you've had thus far?
What? Definitely. Andrew, what's your favourite music?
I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest.
Hey,
I can't just.
Dude, go for it. Let's go for it. What's your
Yeah.
favourite music?
My favourite music. I mean, I would like to say it's the Strokes, but my team would probably tell me that, you know, actually Taylor Swift or Katy Perry probably gets played more, which is super embarrassing, but there it is.
No problem. And if you're going to do all this, who would be your ideal dinner date?
Who would the ideal dinner date be?
Who would you like to have a couple of hours with?
Because this, I was watching one of these and I was like, who would it be? And I just started saying really boring things. So I need to think of something. I knew this was coming as well. This is so annoying. I'd probably, oh God. I think, I know this is really bad, but probably Britney Spears. It's a thing from my 18. No. It's a hang up from when I was 18.
Hey, listen, I like it. I like that. Most people, they're fanny out and they'll say, my wife or my partner, like Gaz would do. No, he didn't actually. He said Kelly Brook.
Yeah.
But
God,
Rachel
that'll be-
does look like Kelly Brooks, so I mean, it's a good second. Andrew Cannon from Ruffians. We spent lots of time with Wahl. He's got some great guys working down there and fantastic business. Hope you've all enjoyed listening to what Andrew's insight to how the Ruffian brand works. And if you want to follow Andrew, we'll put his website up on our website as well, so you can follow a bit more for Ruffians, for different options with Ruffians. But Andrew is having his Scottish smokes trout. He is having a whiskey sour while he's doing that. He's in some kind of safari in Zambia. He's listening to some Taylor Swift music through his cordless Bose headphones. And he's doing all of this, sat around a table with Britney Spears. Andrew Cannon from Ruffians.
That's a dream.
Barbers Arms. Thank you very much, bro. All the best.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Thanks very much, Andrew.
Cheers.
Hey.
Hello, Gary. I have to speak a little bit proper now because Andrew's given us proper elocution. Do you know, he's one of them kids, though, that he's had obviously a really good upbringing. He's a very educated man. But when you go out for a beer with him, he is as he is. And he's fantastic. He's a great, great guy. If he can help you, he will do. He's hardworking. He puts a lot of things before himself. He's not flash. Say, like, he's got shops in, like, Shoreditch, Malibu. He's got Covent Garden. You know, he's got Edinburgh. I'd be walking around with a fucking billboard on saying, look at where all my shops are. Do you know what I mean? He's not. He's just so unassuming. So, guys, when things get back to normal, I'd love to take you down there, mate, and let you do a shave for the lads at Ruffians, because they'd love you down there.
Well, I've actually had my beard trimmed in Ruffians. Actually, when you have a wander around, we have so many meetings in London. I work so much in London, and I always go. So we always go to the top brands. You know, I've done everybody that is anybody in London, and I went into Ruffians. I just had a haircut, so I had to have my beard done. I had a clean up, and I will say it was fantastic. But I really enjoyed talking. It was in the early days as well when I spoke to Andrew, and the event that Jackie sorted out. To be honest, is the event that Jackie sorted out, that we were at the Barber Surgeons Hall. It's a fantastic event. You're surrounded by history, and you know it's a beautiful place. But it was, you know, I spoke to him there, and he wasn't into training whatsoever. I just liked my staff to go, and it's great how a business evolves as well. And you know what? It's nice. It's nice for people to admit that they've made mistakes as well, because the only way we get on in life and we make things better is by making mistakes and being truthful and honest about. We're able to make mistakes, aren't we?
Do you know what, though, guys? Do you not think that this is what Barbers Arms has been about? Because if we're in a bar, me and you, they know me and you are the anchors every week. We're going to be sat in the same place like you do in your local. You're sitting in your same place every Friday. Look at the people that we attract. Can you imagine Bill sat with Andrew? Very similar kind of philosophers in life, kind of like, kind of got that behind business side of the heads on them. And I think, you know, just the way that Andrew came across tonight, I hope people's learned off that. I've certainly got some insight to how he does his training with his staff. And the training that's being done with his staff, I would say 40% of it is on customer service. And the company that do it, they train the top hotel people in the world. And it's like a massive investment.
Do you know what, though? That is the thing. I mean, customer service, from our point, we're a service industry, aren't we? We are a service industry, but at the same time, you've got to keep that, you know, that identity, if you like. You've got to make yourself different from everybody else, just as that standout. But what I really love about when we do all this, and we take everybody from every different, I mean, you know, obviously public schooled, then we've got Bill on one week, we've got Andrew on the next, we've got Van Council from the States. What different backgrounds, but really, really successful people. And the main trait is is the passion and that ability to get the best out of people, which is
you need to get your finger out now. You need to speak to Trev and see if on the 50th episode we can get every guest that's been on Barber's Arms to the Surgeon's Hall, and we do like a live show with all the 50 guests on the 50th episode, and we get everybody back up there. Guys, I don't know if you've been tuning in as well. You'll see on the website, you can see some of the clips, little short clips, some of the highlights of Barber's Arms over the last 26 weeks. Also as well, if you want to look on our website, which is the barbersarms.co.uk, you can have a look at what's coming up on the website, all about registration there with the BBA, and also as well about the trade show that's coming up on the 29th and 30th of November, which we'll talk a little bit about when we've had as local heroes. But before the local heroes, it's cocktail time, baby.
Cocktail, so it's drink time. So quickly, short and sweet, here we go. So we've got a Wild Ruffian. This is just for Andrew and the team. A Wild Ruffian. I look for inspiration every week on, you know, the kind of guests we have, where they come from, what the weather's like. This one just stood out straight away. I found this cocktail a few months ago. I was looking for cocktails and different things, and we got this in mind. So we've got a Collins glass. So we've got some fresh mint straight out of the garden in Briarswood here in Biddulph. We've got the thing is with drinks like this, we have to muddle, and what muddle is we have to squeeze the oil out of whatever leaves we're using. So we use a muddler. This is a muddle. So we use this. It's all a bit like a mortar and pestle, but it's a muddler. So we use it for cocktails. So we're just muddling that actual, and you can actually smell the mint coming out of that now. And we break it up, break the actual leaf up, so we can actually smell, and the oil's coming out. It's getting into the glass. At the same time, you can actually smell that. It's absolutely beautiful. So we've got our shaker. This is a cobbler. I don't know if anybody knows the difference in different cocktail shakers, but I know we've said this before, but people keep asking me more and more questions about this. You know, I am not a professional here. I'm doing it for the Barber's Arms, but I do like to have a drink now and again. So we've got a cobbler shaker, so it's full of ice. So the cocktail that we're doing is a Wild Ruffian. So we've got about half or 3/4 of an ounce of peach syrup. Now, what I've done with this is peach syrup. You can either boil them down and add sugar, but what I've done is liquidized peaches into, well, my bar staff is my barmaid who's standing behind me. She's absolutely beautiful. We've actually put that, and we've muddled that down. We put that in. So we've got the peach syrup. Then we've got our cognac. Now I've got a really good cognac, a champagne cognac here. I'm going to use the glass that I've used for the peach, so I don't have to. She's got no, not got as much washing up to do. So I'm going to do 3 ounces of cognac. So there's 2, and there's another 1. So champagne cognac in there. We're going to now put the top on, and we're going to give it a shake. So we're shaking all those ingredients and cooling them as well. So we're chilling those.
Looks nice.
So just because we're using the cobbler, we don't have to strain this now, because we take the lid off. And it's already, I don't know if anybody can see that there. So we've already got a strainer in the top. So keep your finger on the top. We're going to take a Collins glass, and we're going to take that in. So straight into the glass with the muddled mint.
In one.
Got some ice in there already. We're going to top it up now with crushed ice. So we just put that in, so that's already coming. And then we're going to garnish it with 2 beautiful little tasters of sprigs of mint on the top. So there we have it. Our Wild Ruffian, just for Mr. Andrew, who's the CEO of Ruffians Barbers in Edinburgh and London. There we have it. There we are, sir. To you, all the very best. And I'm going to pass you one of these in a minute, Simon, because you're going to do it in one, I think, aren't you?
You are, because I can't do stuff like that, but you're the master at it. You're the best. You're my hero.
Good health, everybody. Happy Fridays. Love you.
Happy Fridays on Barbers Arms, episode 26. Gaz is just downing in one. Is Ruffians cocktail. Wow. And there you go. You're going to get brain freeze as well. Ice cream headache.
It should be taken with a straw, little straw really, because that crushed ice is absolutely beautiful. Andrew, if you're watching, that could be your signature drink after. So we will make you one of those next time I see you. Absolutely beautiful. Mr. Andrew Cannon, we love you. Thank you very much for coming on the show and giving us your time. Right, sir.
Local hero time.
Excuse me, what are you drinking tonight? Anyway, I think you need to take a shot now because I've just had 3 shots of cognac in there.
Well, Desperado has been, I think it's been a big drink over lockdown. And it's got a little shot of rum in it. And, tequila.
No, excuse me. No, it hasn't. It's got tequila in it.
Yeah, it has, yeah. And trust me, I was out. Yeah, beautiful. But listen, I've been speaking to a few people, and I've got people onto Desperado, and they're like, "Oh no, listen, it's caused loads of problems at home, arguments, people cracking up, drinking it, eating into walls, walking to the toilet, bouncing off walls and stuff." So yeah, I'm good tonight on Desperado and vino.
I tell you what, that isn't a very good mix, really. You know, red wine and tequila beer is. What's that all about?
Says you. Hang on a minute. You've been drinking moonshine, Ruffian cocktail, and Desperado yourself.
Wow,
that's been a big hit.
Anyway, we've got our local hero on. Is Mr. Ross Jones there? Can you hear us there?
I can. Can you hear me?
We can, loud and clear. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm good.
Other than, can you turn your whatever device you're on? Can you turn it the other way? Can you turn it sideways? That's it. Perfect, sir. Perfect.
How's that? Better?
That's it. That's perfect. Now, I know you've got a little story to tell. You're not in your barbershop because at the minute you're isolating, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I'm about 10 days in, so I get to go back to work on Wednesday. So yeah, basically I came into contact with somebody who tested positive, so we have to isolate for 14 days, whether we test positive or negative.
I know. We've had a member of staff exactly the same, Lucas, who works for us. His mum tested positive, even though he doesn't live with her. He was in contact with her, and he came back negative. And he still, I still can't get my head around it. Really, you still have to quarantine for 14 days, even though you're negative, don't you?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, really, because obviously the sort of specialists in the field are still learning a lot about it, and the kind of theory on that is you can still develop symptoms up to 14 days after being in contact with someone. So it's a precautionary sort of thing, really. I mean, some people, some parts of it, if you've been in contact, I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me directly on it, but I think it's about 10 days sometimes. But certainly for what we do, it's 14 days.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, anybody who's listening to Ross's story there, guy, hi Ross.
Hi, mate.
It's good that you do the right thing, and there's so many people that are out there that's still doing the right thing. Lots of things have happened this last week. Scotland, there are lots of cases in the north of England that's rising up. Look, we've all been through it. Whatever's going to come in front of us, we're just going to ask you what you were drinking. I dare ask you now what you're drinking. What is it, Ross?
Squash.
Squash?
Yeah.
Whoa.
You're really surprised.
I am really surprised, boyo.
That is a terrible Welsh accent.
Hey, how did you go on last night?
Say again.
How did you go on at football last night?
See, the ball's the wrong shape for me, mate. We like those egg. We like those egg-shaped balls. See, the violent sports.
It looked like it was the wrong shape for your defence last night. England are a really young team. I'm a massive Ryan Giggs fan. And I'm one of these guys, I've got to say, Ross, I'm one of these guys, and I say to these bastards in Scotland, whenever England's not playing, I want Scotland to do well, Ireland, Republic, Wales, I all want you to win. Against England, I want us to win. But it's the opposite. Whenever I've been in Wales and England are playing any football games, you all want that other team to beat us. There's something not right there. Scotland's even worse.
It's kind of our thing. You know.
Well, listen, we've had some great times down in Cardiff. I've done lots of training. I've got great friends down there. Ken Picton's a great friend of mine. Great guy. He's down the bay. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, absolutely awesome work. I love the bay. For me, when I come down to the bay, if I stay at St Martin's or at Celtic, it's always like an holiday down there for me. And I've got fond memories of all that area down there. The Celtic Manor is like 2 minutes that way from my house. Me and Gaz got really drunk once at Celtic. Oh, did you? I bet.
do you know what, Ross? Did you ever go to Barber Connect down there?
No, I didn't. It was
always the very first Barber Connect was at St David's, right on the head of the bay. Do you know where I mean? Yeah. The hotel. Yeah. That was the very first one, and it was a great. It was very intimate, really great show. Made some really lifelong friends there. But do you know what? What a beautiful place Cardiff is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's all right. We've done it up now. We've painted it a bit, like, you know, and it looks nice now. It's a good city. I think it's just so compact. Everything's sort of very easy to get to. Walk around. I mean, you can get across the city easy in 20 minutes. I mean, you can't say that for most capital cities. Get across London, it takes you 2 hours. It is nice, and you know the hotel we just spoke about, guys. The first time I went to that hotel, I was asked by Barnsley FC. They were playing in the playoffs when Wembley were closed. They played all the playoffs at the Millennium Stadium, which for me, that atmosphere at that stadium is probably one of the best I've ever been into. The sound, the acoustics, acoustics are unbelievable. And in St David's Hotel, there's a little salon just off reception. Yeah. And the owner of the salon let me use it to cut their hairs. Oh, that's cool. I think I did most at first team before they played Swansea in a playoff final. Right. And we won on penalties. Yeah. So the whole that's the first time I stayed in the hotel. I did the airs of the players the night before. Went to the match the day after in the exec box. It was a really close game. We won on penalties. So ever since that hotel has always held really fond memories for me. And I say Celtic for us has been superb with Barber Connect and the guys at Barber Blades and stuff like that. They're great. They're great. I love the Welsh. I love the Welsh. We're good people. But the Celtic Manor as well, that had some special memories because we met some really nice. You've done some great shows there, by the way. So I know you've compared some great stages. But I mean, from Celtic Manor, what a beautiful place as well, in a beautiful part of the world. You know, go through Moffat and our travel, because I'm in the Midlands, Ross, and our travel right down into there, you pass some beautiful countryside, but from your point of view, Ross, so I know you're a barbershop and you work on your own. How long have you actually been barbering?
I suppose 10 years plus, really.
How did you get into barbering then?
Well, I suppose as a kid, I was fascinated by it. My mother was a hairdresser. And it just kind of, I don't know, I just love it. I did. There's no sort of one thing that really pushed me into it. I just love it. I've done lots of other things, but all the other jobs that I've done, I've never really been happy doing it. And when I actually took barbering seriously, I just thought, do you know what? This is just me. And I love it working on my own. I do. I mean, we've got enough room for 3 people in the shop. My shop, it's a really, really small shop. But I find that I'm more effective on my own working, because when the customer comes in, they've got my full attention, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
You know, and the world that we live in these days, that's incredibly important. You know what I mean? Just being able to say whatever you want to someone, you know?
Given that, Ross, that's fantastic
Yeah.
as well. And I think there's lots of barbers out there that do work on their own.
Yeah.
So this next question will be really important to those guys. So how has isolation, the first stint, affected you and your family? But obviously now you've had to self-isolate for 14 days. You've closed your shop for 14 days. So how has this affected not only yourself from a motivational point of view, but how's it affected your family as well?
Oh yeah, I'm driving them mad. I'm driving them dull because I'm just like hanging round. Do you know what I mean? What you're doing? Do you know what I mean? Just constantly interfering in their day-to-day life. And I think, to be honest with you, I'm amazed my wife hadn't swung for me. Like, do you know what I mean? But you know, it's the first lockdown was quite interesting. And to be honest with you, I found it really, really good. I mean, I spent so much time with my kids, and we had all that good weather. Do you know what I mean? And we were just out in the garden. We re-turfed the garden, relayed everything, did so much. So it was fantastic. And then when I got back to work, it was kind of a bit of a shock. But this second sort of me being, it feels like I've been locked up for 2 weeks. It took me by surprise. I kind of thought that it's going to happen, but really we didn't want it to. So I think for people that are wary of it, just be careful and do the right thing. Do you know what I mean? Because it would have been quite easy for me to just carry on, and that's me being honest. But yeah, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because we have contact with people who are young, old. Some of them may be vulnerable and susceptible to things like this, and we've just got to take that responsibility. And you know,
Gaz, he's just said something there, though, that I think is really poignant, that I just want to fetch up before we finish tonight, is that I think there's a feeling that everybody's saying, oh, we're going to be near to another lockdown and all that kind of stuff. And you just said there, Ross, about the first time we had lockdown, we had great weather.
Yeah.
It was new to everybody. People were having a break for the first time for like 10 years. They never had an holiday. All of a sudden,
when did you take 4 months off? Like,
exactly. And people were doing the gardens, people were doing their outside, building outside bars, reinvesting into the shops and everything, and all that excitement. And then we've gone back into it. And then there's a bit of a fear about what could happen next. And then, you know, clocks are going to go back next week. They go back next week. Yeah. And there's a fear of the winter coming up. There's a fear of the dark nights and this happening. So I think you've just something there. What's really poignant is that this is why I think what you've just done, Ross, is, you know, if there's any doubt and you have been in contact with anybody, you have to do the right thing, guys. If you're listening, if you're watching, you've got to do the right thing. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I was with a friend of mine who told me that he'd been out on the Saturday night. I met him on the Tuesday. We'd only had a beer together. And on the Wednesday for me, he said he'd heard on the Saturday night the people who'd been out with some had been tested. He said, but wait till I've had my test done. And then if I'm negative, you're going to be negative. And I'm like, no, I'm not waiting for that. I went straight away and got the test. And in between waiting for my test, no one came in contact with me. I was just like, that's it.
I mean, the test services and stuff is kind of, it's quite efficient, you know. I mean, one of my children had to have a test, and it was quite interesting because obviously we live in Newport, but my wife had to drive from Newport to Bath to get him a test. But the following day, I had a test literally down the road from my house. but there are tests available, like, you know, and I think, I mean, I had my test done. I had one done the other day, and it came back negative. But I think it was less than 24 hours, like, you know. I mean, that's phenomenal. You book it all online, drive through.
I did mine on a drive-through, but I think I went online on the Thursday morning. I was booked in at like let's say did it at 11 o'clock. I was there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Drove to put it around your wing mirror through. I mean, look, when they do it, I obviously went in wrong lane, so they came and did it for me, because sometimes you can do it yourself, but back of the throat, and then when they put it yours, my toes were curling. They're like, hold on a minute, what's wrong with you? And mine came back midnight on the Friday. So obviously, so it was a really good service. I know a lot of areas are struggling for testing, and sometimes you've got to travel a little bit further afield. But no, you've done the right thing. And I think the area that you've just mentioned there, all those areas, I spent a lot of time in them areas, in Wales, in Newport, in Caldicot, in those areas. You know, I'm a big fan of the Welsh area. I love that area. And I've got some great friends down there as well, in Swansea. And we had Jim the Trim on a few weeks ago. And,
He's a great guy. He's good, you know, really funny.
So we have at Wahl, we have lots of great customers down there, Aston and Finch in Swansea, Keith, and we have Salon Connections, and you know we've got Mark Hancock at what's Mark's business called? He's going to kill me for this one. I'm trying to think of business. Newport. You're in Newport, aren't you?
Yeah.
So Salon Connections.
There's Sally's is here as well.
Sally's, obviously. Sally's.
Yeah. Do you know, there's so many these days. I get lost. Yeah.
Ross, just give us your barbershop name anyway. For anybody who's watching, what's your barbershop name and where are you?
Jones the Barber, Castle Arcade, Cardiff.
Perfect, sir.
Job done.
And just quickly, just while we talk about this, how after the first lockdown, how's business been? Are you up, down? Are you about the same, or how's it been for you?
So the first probably month was just jam packed. I mean, obviously, I because before lockdown it was all walk-ins. I didn't do any appointments unless it was just for like shaves and stuff like that. So we went all to the bookings, and it just went mental, as we expected it to. So I did longer days, worked sort of late into the night and stuff like that. But then it kind of dropped off a bit, and then picked back up and dropped down again. And then it was really starting to get busier and busier until I knocked off for the 2 weeks. But already I was looking on the system earlier, and you can just see that the next week of me back is just jam packed again. So we haven't seen a lot of customers that were the regulars beforehand, but being in the middle of a city, like you guys will know, it's because the offices aren't back. A lot of the people who get their hair cut on lunchtime or straight after work before they head home, they're not there. So they're probably getting their haircut when they're working from home in places like Caerphilly, Bridgend, Bargoed, up the valleys. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't blame them. Do you know what I mean? It's keeping them safe as well as us.
Keep your spirits, bro, though, because some of the big brands, Savills, Ruffians, you know, big shops in Leeds, city centres, you know, people in all the big city centres are saying the same, you know, that they're even looking at either getting rid of the city centre salon, or if they're a chain, they're probably looking at getting something into the suburbs, because, you know, the wholesaler I was thinking about was Gilmore Hair and Beauty.
Yeah.
They're in Newport as well, so
lots of wall suppliers down there.
Yeah,
that we have. Do you know what? I think it's from a point of view. Even I mean, we're not city centre; we're market towns. We you know, from our point, I know you're not probably au fait with where we are, Ross, but we are village or market town salons. We're barbershops.
Yeah.
We're not city centre whatsoever. But I think what's happened is, especially with, you know, looking at, I'm sure you keep a book. I'm sure you look back on your you know, what you've done in the past last year,
Yeah.
what you were doing time last year and the year before. And I don't know how long you've been trading for 10 years.
Yeah.
We've been trading for 30, 40, 50 years. So we can look back and say, right, we know what our trends are. They've all gone out the window, haven't they, mate?
Yeah.
They actually just, everything's just gone out of the window, and people's habits have completely changed.
Yeah.
And, you know, the difference is we cannot predict, even from a staffing point of view and everything else, we can't predict what we're going to do anymore like we used to do.
Yeah.
Because people's habits have changed, you know, what they do, where they go. Everything's completely changed. We used to ride out all the, you know, we were pretty recession proof from a barbering and hairdressing point of view years ago. But because barbershops, you know, the pubs, weddings, funerals, parties, that's not happening, is it? So it's quite funny that we can't even predict now what we're going to do in the future at all. It's a funny situation.
Yeah, it really is, you know, and I'm sure at the moment we'll see an increase in people doing things like mobile barbering, mobile hairdressing. I saw a great thing the other day on, I think it was Instagram, I think it was, someone sent it to me, with a barbershop in a van that drives around. I think it was in London.
Yeah, there is. I've seen them in Kent.
Trim It. That's what it was called. And this young guy had set up this thing. It was awesome.
These have been set up before COVID as well, so I think fair play to the guy. Some of them have been set up beforehand, so...
Yeah, this guy was established about 5 years ago, but I mean, he just said, "Oh, this is a good idea," and I thought maybe there's a gap in that sort of market, like, you know, it's not.
Listen, we're going to get back to we are going to get back to normality. Don't worry, everybody who's listening and stuff. Let's keep it on. We're not in your salon, so we can't have a look around your shop. What's your favourite wall clipper?
Ooh. Senior.
Do you know what? I was in a meeting today at Wahl, and we forget sometimes some of our clippers guys that's been out a couple of years. But Senior has had an amazing year again. What a superstar that product's been. Absolute superstar. So reliable.
It's an animal. It's just brilliant. It does everything. Like, I mean, for years it was always the super taper. Do you know what I mean? It was always that. And then that came out and I had it and I was just like, why would you need anything else?
Yeah, it's good. Very good. Well, Ross, obviously, thank you for coming on, even though you're isolating at home. We really appreciate your time, mate, tonight, for being on Barbers Arms as one of our local heroes from Cardiff. I'm sure when we get back in, maybe episodes into our 40s, we'll get back in and have a look at your shop in Cardiff. God bless you. Well done for isolating like you've done. You've done the right thing, bro. All the best to Wales. God bless you all.
Take it easy. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Ross. Well, we'll be down for a pint before you know it. See you later, mate.
Ta-da.
All right.
What a lovely fella. Well,
yeah, nice guy.
That's the other side of the business as well. That's what can happen as well. Can you imagine somebody coming to your business and saying, right, by the way, you've had somebody in, you've got to shut for 2 weeks now and earn no money. I mean, how scary is that? And he's done the right thing, gone out there, shut. It's affected his family as well. Can't it. Unbelievable.
A nice guy. You know, I'd love to have been in his shop tonight, working on his own. Do you know what? I think both guests tonight have been like really honest. Andrew was really honest about his stuff, and he was just saying, "Listen, no airs in grace. I ain't got like 4 staff working or 3 staff, and then some are part time." Even Andrew said like some of the staff have gone down 3 days a week. Oh yeah, looks nice, guys. What the fuck are you doing? Boof on there. Fucking hell. That cocktails give you an extra volume. Listen, everybody, we've got a new product coming out at the BBA and Wahl. It's a volumizer for your hair. Speak to Gaz, and he's just had a drink of it, and it makes your hair all fucking fluffy, gives you a really new hood.
Hey, do you know what? Something that Andrew said earlier on, it made me laugh. He said, you know, I went around different barbershops, my hair got shorter and shorter, and I was poaching staff. How would you go on if you had to go and open your own shop? You'd be fucked, wouldn't you, if you're having haircuts?
I don't know what's most funny. You asking me that or you saying that you'd be fucked. Gary Machin swearing on Barbers' house for the first time after episode 26. Congratulations, guys. Welcome to the house of fun, motherfucker. Yeah, well, I would, but we have secret shoppers. So I don't need to do that because I'm fucking global, not local. So we have secret shoppers that go out and do that for me. However, this year...
I tell you what now. My dad will be devastated when he watches this back. He'll go, do you know what? Oh, Gary swore on telly.
What's wrong with you, Gary? What? And don't let your fucking dad or any of your brothers blame me because I swear. I've got Tourette's. Listen, guys out there, I have a very mild form of Tourette's and I'm overweight. I've took my slimming tablet tonight and my Tourette's tablet and neither of the bastards have worked. So I don't know what's passed on to Gaz tonight. It must be that cocktail. But Gaz, I think, listening to Ross there, it just shows that there's really good people out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we've had some people on here, or we've been told about some people in the industry that haven't done the right thing. But there's a lot, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people out there that are doing and showing, what they're made of. They are absolutely fantastic. We had somebody come into the shop, a counsellor actually, and said he praised our industry, how well we were actually following the guidelines and the restrictions and everything else. I'm not saying that everybody has, but from our point of view, our sector I think is done really, really well. But I think it goes without saying, it's about keeping your own family safe as well at the same time. It's not about just making money. It's about keeping your own family safe. How many people we come into contact with every single day, week, whatever it is. I work with Jake, don't you? I work with my own son. So, and,
he's a great barber. Jake's a great barber as well. In fact, you know what's come up this week? Facebook gives you these last year's memories and stuff. And I looked at the Wahl stuff, Carl Taylor picking up his Barber of the Year. So obviously, it's a year ago since Sal International with the dates and the music, nothing can stop us now. It gives me goosebumps, even as I'm speaking about it. I mean, it gives me goosebumps. And I went to the BBA one as well, came up and I saw Jake there. I thought, a great young kid your son is, and a great barber, looks smart. He's like a mini Gaz. And he'll be like sat at home watching this saying, I'm not fucking like my dad. But great, credit to you with your family, Gary, and your son. He follows you to your shows and stuff. And I know he models for you sometimes as well. But what a great thing when you can fetch your family involved in your business as well. It's great. Do you know what, Gary? As we're finishing off tonight, before I pass over to you, I want to say some words because I think it's really important now. Lots of my friends this week have spoke to me, and some of them are top people in the industry. I want to say one person, Geoff Davis, one of my best mates in the industry. Me and Geoff spoke, and we spoke about difficulties that's happening in the industry. And I said, Geoff, you're just a mirror of other people that's saying it in the same. You listen to Andrew tonight. I would crack up with his rents and his rates in central London and his staff. But we've gone through it before, guys. Listen, everybody out there, we've had a lockdown before, and we were completely shut. We've been allowed to reopen back up from the 4th of July, and 90% of you've done it right. 90% of you've done it right. So if there's some fears and there's some little lockdowns happening and we can't go for beers, restaurants are closing at such and such time, and bars, so what? As long as you can still keep cutting hair, still keep giving a great service, things will get better. I'm really positive for 2021. I do think that and I know a lot of people are saying, oh my God, I can't believe he's saying this, but I do think the government will get it right. I do think globally, we've got too many intelligent people in this world not to beat this disease. We've done it over the years, the fucking Great Plagues, the, you know, SARS, we've all got through it, you know, and so in our times, did any of us think we were going to go through this? No, we've gone through it once in terms of the lockdown, and then we reopen back up. But listen, we're going to get through it. Whatever's going to come in front of you, keep moving forward. If you can't walk, if you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep fucking moving forward. That's what it's all about. And how do I get through it? I've got a beautiful son, a beautiful daughter, and, you know, and I've got amazing grandkids. I've got a beautiful family around me, and it's tough. It is tough. But I work for an amazing company in Wahl, and I believe that the powers that will be will sort it out. Let's keep moving forward. Keep your spirits up. Keep motivated, and do the right thing. And that's all I'm going to ask you from I'm going to dedicate this show to everybody out there. Just fucking keep your heads together. Let's keep moving forward.
Well said, sir. Can I just say to all our cousins in all the other nations, from Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland as well, you're going through tough times. We're holding your hands, you know. I can't imagine it, you know. Can you imagine being in Scotland now and not having a beer? It's terrible, terrible. So all I can say is, luckily, we aren't being locked down at the moment. Our sector is not going to be locked down. But as Simon's just said, keep going, be good. Can I just say a few things as well? So all the apprentices that are just getting signed up at the moment, you've picked a fantastic, fantastic industry to get involved in. Just keep your head down. Hard times, I know, but we've got more apprentices being signed up than ever before. So please, just listen to your employers and your training providers. Miss Hilary Hall, who's NHBF, she's just stepping down from her position. She's done a great job. And from me and my co-host, Mr. Simon Shaw, love you all to death, and we will see you next week. So from me, it's straight home, no messing about. Have another drink.
See you later, guys. We'll see you all next week. Follow us on his website, thebarbersarms.co.uk. Find about the exhibition. Have a safe weekend. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Do the right thing. And we'll fucking beat this. Come on. Let's have it. Adios.
Do it.
Yeah.